Hello, welcome to another episode of ST with ST Straight Talk with Sunny Thing on Josh India Web TV, powered and presented by the South Asian Insider. Every week, we bring in different celebrities from the different celebrities or successful people, businessmen, social, religious, community leaders, community activists, and businessmen, entrepreneurs who have excelled in their field, a chosen field, or they have put something exciting together in the field of business. This week, we have a gentleman called John Meyer, who has started a company to tell about it, which helps young entrepreneurs, startups who are looking for financing or lending solutions or working capital or other kind of financial innovative solutions to take their companies, take their enterprises to the next level. So here, please welcome John Myers. Hey, John.
How you doing, man?
Oh, welcome to our studio. So as I said, John Myers has been in the field of finance and business lending for quite a few years. And now he's in our studios. He'll tell us a little more about what he has been doing and what he currently is doing, what is in the plan, and how he can help your small business take a giant leap of success and go to the next level. Welcome.
How you doing? At Working Capital RS, our main goal is to help the.
How about this? We go before working capital. Tell our viewers what you were doing so far. You seem to have a very fun-filled, successful resume. So tell us a little bit about like what you were doing before working capital or before the previous business you were involved in. Tell us something about you first.
It's like 12, 14 years before the mortgage meltdown. I was involved with mortgages, and then from there, I went to business lending. So from I guess like around 08, 09 or so to up until the virus, I stopped doing all the business funding, and then just recently I started Working Capital RS. So I have like over 20 something years in the lending institutions.
20 something years is like almost a lifeline or a lifetime of a small business, right? It's always said like first 3 years if a small business breaks in, it becomes successful, otherwise it becomes a casualty, right?
Yes.
Is there any field where you specialize in, or is it like generic, one size fits all, or are there some fields these days which are where the funding or the lending money is more available? Because these days everyone seems to have a lot of money in the pockets for real estate, and we have all seen how kind of bubble it is in.
Right now, if it's commercial financing, there's plenty of money out there. If the one that's a little slight challenge is the cannabis industry,
Okay.
because
Yeah, that'll still not like
it's hard.
it's legalized at the federal level, so it's
Correct.
still state to state. So I would refrain from that. I again a disclaimer, like we are not suggesting anything for cannabis, but I'm saying like general business, like let's say top of my mind comes the restaurant industry. It's a very like tough field. It's very it's glamorous. A restaurant. I'm myself a part of like a group which has invested recently into an American burger place. And every day I see there are challenges of inflation these days, manpower, a lot of other things. And then there was some funding available by the federal government in terms of PPP, EIDL, but I don't think any more funding and any of those programs are available. How do you think like that industry is surviving, and how that is different from some other industries?
The restaurant industry, unfortunately, people I think going to be cutting back because of gas prices.
Okay.
So if you're spending a lot more money putting gas into your car to go to work, you're going to be cutting back on the non-essentials. And the non-essentials is going to like takeout places, diners, different places like that. So regular restaurants are going to be hurting.
Okay.
So, and the price for shipping of all different goods are going to be going up, skyrocketing.
So you mean like we already talked about inflation,
Inflation.
and that is going to put price pressure on like small businesses to increase their prices,
Correct.
which may cut into their demand. So you think that with the slowdown, how it's going to affect the availability of funding?
There's always gonna be ways to get funding, but unfortunately, you're gonna be paying for it. So like if you hypothetically needed payroll by Friday and you got good credit, I would like to do two types of loans. One's the cash advance where I could get you funding within like maybe 24, 48 hours. But in the same time, I'll be working on a line of credit where the payment will be like once a month. So this way, I put out one fire and then get you into a better situation.
How's cash advance different than merchant advance?
It's the same thing.
It's the same thing.
So if you could like have the cash advance against your bank statements where it's a daily, or you could do off the credit cards where it's still a daily Monday through Friday.
Okay.
Whereas like most of the restaurants where they make most of the money Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, but the credit card statements and the same thing with the bank statements, they don't take out on the weekends.
All right. We'll take a small break and then we'll be immediately back. Thank you. Welcome back again. We are with John Myers, a lending and business funding specialist or professional. So we were talking about different kinds of funding which is available to businesses, and John was mentioning merchant advance or cash advance could be one of the short-term solutions in a day or two. But do they check credit, personal credit, or it's only business receivables, business credit, or?
There's a lot of different things. They check the personal credit. So if you got a 500 credit score, I still could get you in advance. But if you need that money to pay payroll by the end of the week, that's your best option. Then if you have a lot of accounts receivables because you're a manufacturing company and there's no loans out against the accounts receivables, that might take like 2 or 3 weeks. So it'll be like a 2-step process. Get you put out one fire, and then resolve the second issue by paying off the cash advance. And then at the same time, I would tell you how to, like, for free advice, to work on how to improve your credit.
Okay, do you want to share a tip or two, like how can somebody improve their credit? Of course, one of them is the best way is to pay your bills, right? On time, or if you've been late, still pay your bills, right?
Yes. If it's recent debt, then you're gonna have to like catch up. If it's old debt, like 6-7 years, where it's still on credit, then eventually that will fall off, or B, work out some type of payment plan where that will eventually disappear, and then your credit will go up.
Oh. So what are the kind of like let's say before we talked about what you were doing before working capital. There was something about working capital. It's a catchy name. How did you come up with that? And what exactly do you working capital as? Are there who you guys located? Who helps you? Do you have some associates, employees?
Right now, it's like basically a 2-man operation. So I have one person named Max, who's doing all the back-end stuff with the computers, because I'm not
I
that.
think I know the guy, right?
Yes. He's very good with the computer stuff, whereas I'm not as literate with the computers, and myself. And then eventually down the line, we'll expand.
If there was one advice you wanted to give it to entrepreneurs who just want to start some business, who small business owners, or who have just started a small business, what would that be?
Keep your overhead low. You can have.
What kind of overheads?
So instead of getting a brick and mortar, like just say if you're a construction company, you could get like a UPS box.
Okay.
Say that's your office. But meanwhile, you're operating out of your house.
All right.
So.
But someone who's not operating out of their house, somebody has rented a commercial location, or an office, or a warehouse, how can they keep, especially these days when inflation is there, and it has picked up pretty good. When you see gas at $5 a gallon, and then inflation, and then there's we all talk about how certain jobs there are not enough manpower. There's not enough manpower to fill those jobs. How can they still keep their overheads low?
Basically, a lot of the offices I know in like New York City, they've telling the workers work remotely out of their home, so they might have a virtual office.
Okay.
So this way, like now, all the workers operate remotely, they're saving time where they don't have to travel.
Okay.
So if you got a virtual office, that might be like a couple of, maybe $200, $300, $400 a month. Whereas like the phone, you can pay a little extra where they can answer the phone calls, but you have all your mail go there. So, whereas you don't have to spend thousands of dollars for a physical brick and mortar place.
So keep your overheads low. That's the one advice John want to give it to someone who just started it or he was planning to start a business. Now let's talk about, we all know we might see some tough times ahead for small or big businesses ahead. There is inflation and the Federal Reserve is increasing the rates. Where do you see 3 to 6 months from now small businesses, what kind of needs they will have and how you could be available to help them with advice or arranging some kind of financing funding? Where will businesses be? Where will, in your forecast? Of course, nothing is certain, right? It can go either way. But 3 to 6 months, we all expect inflation to have peaked up and then maybe chances of recession. So where do you see these small businesses who have just started and what else they can do in addition to keeping the overhead low?
Explore all avenues to keep overhead low with like different things with cable and so on. And bottom line is with what's going on with the supply chain, that's going to affect a lot of businesses. So like, as my local mechanic told me that to get certain car parts, it's taken several days to get. So he's getting affected, whereas that person's car now might be out of commission for maybe close to a week. So how can that person go to work? So it's going to be a domino effect across the board.
Yeah, if the spare part doesn't arrive on time, the mechanic won't be able to fix the car, he won't be able to collect the payment, then he won't be able to pay his mortgage or car payment and other stuff, right?
Correct.
One thing affects the other. So do you think it will maybe a good idea to start investing in Make in America or Make in America, Sell in America kind of concept? I'm talking different from, I'm not talking of any political statements. So
the cost factor might be a lot more money, but at least we'll have everything here. So instead of being X amount, tack on like a higher percent. But I'd rather have a higher percent paying out than I know if I get everything within maybe 2 hours for a car part or whatever, than waiting like maybe a week, 2 weeks for something.
all right. You also wrote a book, right? You also wrote a book. You presented it to Suffolk County District Attorney. You had presented it to some few police department. It's available on some platforms. Tell us something about that book.
My book is on Kindle for the ebook and paperback, and you could type in Auto Theft Buster, and it's in English and Spanish. And further down the line, it'll be in a lot more languages.
Like Hindi.
Hindi and maybe Korean and other European and
Maybe Arabic. Maybe Arabic is
any free economic countries it'll be in.
And how can somebody, what is the book about and where somebody can buy it or read it?
You could get it on Amazon and order it, because more and more people are doing everything on ebook. So for $4.50 you can get either the English or the Spanish version. It's $14.99 for the paperback through Amazon. And it talks about different ways on how to prevent you from getting your car stolen, especially now with crime rate skyrocketing.
What is the what like these days? A lot of cars have got so much technical, and the security feature, there are other privacy features and technical like enhancements. Still, you think cars can be stolen? If yes, how can somebody prevent it?
If you have a car that's that operates with push button or for the key fob, and it's like 2 o'clock in the morning, have your key fob in a Faraday cage or wrapped up in thick aluminum foil, which will stop the car thieves from being outside hacking into the key fob to start your car at like 2 in the morning. By the time when you wake up and you realize your car is gone, the car's probably at the one of the ports in the cargo ships already.
Yeah, that's another thing. Like a lot of cars, is the statistics true? Is it that like once a car is stolen, it doesn't remain in the United States? It's shipped overseas.
That's one thing. Or people bring it to a shop. The thieves bring it to a shop, strip it down to the last bolt, and the car's worth 10 times the value on the black market.
So for $4.50, you can buy John's ebook, Auto Theft Busters, on Amazon. If you want a paperback, it's $14, right?
$14.99.
$14.99, and John definitely want to collect the 99 cent, $14.99. You can buy the book for $4.50 ebook. Download it anywhere from the world, download it anywhere in the world, read it, and prevent your car from being stolen in the United States or overseas as well. So this concludes our current episode where we talked about business funding, business lending, how innovative financing can help your business survive and thrive in the current environment, how we may face some headwinds down 3 to 6 months down the line. And we will definitely invite John once again in our studio to talk more about how small businesses can still survive and thrive even during these tough times, economic tough times, inflation. There is a challenge, manpower availability is a challenge, supply of goods and services is a problem. So John, thank you for coming, and I look forward to see you again. Thank you.
Thank you for your time.